What is up, everybody? You know who it is. It's your allies behind enemy lines, Ryan and Joy, holding it down for you, coming to you live behind enemy lines in Cowboys territory, holding it down for all our Washington football team fans. As always, make sure you check us out on anywhere you find your podcasts: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud. We are also on, I'm forgetting one, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. What am I forgetting one? Anyway, anywhere you find your podcast, on SoundCloud. We're also on YouTube by searching Allies Behind Enemy Lines. Go ahead and subscribe and ring that notification bell so as soon as we drop the latest and greatest heat, you're notified. It says, hey, you got some heat waiting for you. You feel your phone in your pocket getting a little hot, your computer getting a little hot on this desktop. Go ahead and watch this to put out that heat. You can also check us out on Twitter at AlliesBEL. You should see that below here. There you'll have all of our links to where you can find us: Facebook, YouTube, all our podcasts, whatever podcast platform I'm forgetting right now, you'll find it there. Also, you'll find a link to a fantastic t-shirt. Let me tell you, this t-shirt's dope. It's fire. Boom, right here, I'm wearing it. Hashtag we all need allies. Let me get my drawstrings out of the way. That is our motto here, because guess what? We all need allies. Don't matter who you are, where you're rocking from, all that good stuff. And Allies Behind Enemy Lines podcast, go ahead and make sure you order one, buy yourself one. The season's getting started next week. That's why we're here for our season preview. And, rock the Allies Behind Enemy Lines merch by letting everybody know, hey, people got my back. I don't care if I'm California, care if I'm Nevada, Utah, wherever you're at. Guess what? You got allies holding it down for you. This week, we are bringing it to you. Like I said, our season preview. We'll be going through the schedule one by one and kind of giving you a little prediction. Obviously, hey, we haven't played a game yet, but hey, we gotta put some kind of content out for you. And this is usually one of our more favorite episodes to do. And we get to talk about. Don't worry, we're not going to say we're going to go 17-0. We're a little more realistic than that. Last year, I think we both had us like around 9-7, 10-6. Obviously, fell a little short of that. But hey, it's it's a new season. Hopefully, a little more stability at numerous positions. It's a pretty new squad as far as the offensive side of the ball goes. So it should be a fun time. Getting ready to kick things off, and here we go. Get ready to go. So our first game up we have is the Chargers. Joey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. You're doing so great there. I just wanted to let you just keep going on and try to remember where you can find all our stuff from. You go to SoundCloud, you go to Spotify, you go to Apple, you go to Google.
Spotify, that's the one I was forgetting. Spotify.
YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're all over the place. Our links are down below. You type in Allies Behind Enemy Lines, you're going to find us. And you're going to find these two wonderful hats and faces and, his shirt. So, how you doing, buddy? I just want to throw you a little line there. It looked like you were John a little bit.
I was like, come on, give me the little lifesaver, baby. I need it. But yeah, Spotify was the one I was forgetting. I was trying to hold out and stall as long as I could, and then I was just kind of sputtering. I was running out of gas there. Just
I was pushing you. You know when you're doing those reps and you're at 9, you're trying to hit like maybe 10 or 15, and I'm like, I want to see how far you can go before he starts. And I can hear those grunts. I can hear
dropping that barbell right on my chest. I was real close to dropping that thing right on my chest. As he said, our hats, since we were doing a little season preview, I told Joey before we started, he's got the actual official Washington football team gear, which is fire. That hat is dope. I got some throwback gear here, obviously. And this is my scout hat. I feel like I'm, scouting some teams here, scouting the schedule. So that's why I got this rocking. Haven't seen it before on this show, but it's one of my favorite ones that I got. So like I said, let's go ahead and jump right into it because we got 17 of these bad boys to cover. So hopefully you're sitting back, you're relaxed if you're watching us live. Hopefully you're kicked back, relaxed if you're listening to this on the replay, and enjoy the show. So like I said, first team we got up is the Chargers of Los Angeles. And I'll be honest with you, I think this is going to be a great test for our defense out the gates. And honestly, I think it's going to be a great test for us, period. I think the Chargers are actually going to be really, really good. I think they're the second team to beat, obviously, in the AFC West outside of the Chiefs. Justin Herbert's coming back after a prolific rookie year. Had a fantastic career. Keenan Allen's coming back. He didn't play some of the games last year due to injury. They're getting back Derwin James, who missed the entire year. Obviously, still have the Bosa bro out there. And like I said, I think this is going to be a great test for our defense, trying to cover Austin Eckler, trying to cover, as I mentioned, Keenan Allen. They're getting back. No, they lost Hunter Henry, so that's a plus for us there. I believe Jared Cook might be their tight end now. I'll have to double check that. But like I said, it's gonna be a great test for our defense because of the weapons they have. Mike Williams, people always seem to forget about Mike Williams. He's very, very good. And I think if you're expecting 8.5 sacks like we saw week 1 last year, I think you're gonna be a little disappointed. But nonetheless, like I said, I think it's gonna be a great test for both sides of the ball right out the gates.
Yeah, I agree. Both sides of the ball, it's going to be a great test. Getting Derwin James back is going to be huge for that defense. Not to mention the Bosa, like you mentioned, and all the pieces they have there in between. On the offensive side of the ball, the Austin Eckler's always been able to hold on that backfield really well. Justin Herbert had that breakout season last year, and we know that he's a quarterback that's just going to keep getting better. Hopefully, he's not in that form on week 1. Is my only wish I have there. But I think even if he's close to that form, that defense is going to be a little bit too much for him to handle. And I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. And I see our offense doing just enough, moving the ball just enough, get those gears rolling to kind of bring home the W there. So I like it. I like the matchup. I like it. It's the first game of the year, home game. That place is going to be rocking and rolling. It's been so long since we've been going to a season with this expectations that this fan base has right now. And I think that place is going to be rocking and rolling. I think this defense is going to get fired up. And I think we're going to probably bring home like a 20-14 victory.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we start off with a nice little dub here as well. The Chargers obviously lose Trey Turner, who was the main staple of their offensive line there for a while. They're bringing in Sean Slater, a guy that we had our eye on in the draft. He went way before we were even able to select him. He's actually questionable for this game, but I think by all accounts, it looks like he's probably going to play. He's just officially listed as questionable right now. So they had to fill a couple spots on that offensive line. That was pretty stellar last year, like you said, for Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler when he was in there. I mean, their backups aren't bad either. Justin Jackson, he's kind of one of those PPR guys. I know it's fantasy season. We just wrapped up one of our fantasy drafts. He's one of those PPR guys too that if Eckler goes out for whatever reason, he's usually a pretty decent little fill-in. But outside of Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, I did mention Jared Cook. He is their tight end. He's getting a little old, but he can still get it done. He's always good for a tutty or two. I think Washington should be able to hold their own. Like you said, the biggest thing is going to be keeping Joey Bosa at bay, keeping him away from our quarterback, and staying away from Derwin James. Make sure you're not putting the ball in his hands because he's a guy that can roam sideline to sideline. He's a ball hawk. He'll lay the wood on you. He can pretty much do it all. He's one of those do-it-all safeties. But outside of those guys, Linval Joseph, one of their nose tackles, because they do run the 3-4. He can get after it as well. So we're really gonna have to trust those guards inside as well as Chase Roulier to hold him at bay. But as long as we got a good pocket back there, I think Fitzpatrick and this offense should be able to do what they want for the most part. Those deep shots might be a little tough with that safety play, but I think the short routes, definitely getting Antonio Gibson going early is going to be the key to a lot of these games. But I do see us coming out with a dub here week 1. Are you keeping track of these, or should we keep track?
Yeah, I'm keeping track of them right. That's why I'm just looking down for all right now. Like, well, someone better keep track of this, or we'll end up being 17-0, like we said. But yeah,
absolutely.
I think we walk away good with this one, man. It's going to be a great way to start the season.
Start the season just like we did last year, and get things rolling. After our game Sunday, we play 4 days later. We play at home, thankfully, against the New York Football Giants, those scrubs. Needless to say, I think this is another victory just because they do have a solid wide receiver core. Obviously, bringing in Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard's still there, Kadarius Toney they drafted there. So, they do your boy, bigger play Slay. That you love.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a lot of offensive weapons. We'll see how healthy Saquon is. He looks like he's going to be ready to go week 1, but I doubt he'll be, full throttle, ready to go. But I do think that this is another win for Washington. 2-0 to start the season, 1-0 to start off the division play. And that's mainly just because I don't trust that offensive line. I don't trust Daniel Jones. He's good for a couple interceptions. The only issue is if we have a couple boneheaded play calls or a couple boneheaded decisions like we saw last year. And as long as Brandon Allen isn't playing quarterback, Kyle Allen isn't playing quarterback for us, I'll be pretty happy for us week 2. And that'll be a step up from last season. But I do think we could start off the season 2-0 against the New York Football Giants.
I'm going to have to agree with you there. I mean, they haven't shown me a whole lot. None of the teams in preseason showed a whole lot in our division, the NFC East. Like, again, we were the one team that actually won a game. So we won the preseason based upon that logic. But Yeah, preseason champs. Hey, keep it rolling. But yeah, the Giants haven't really shown. They're not. Again, they're going to be in. They might be a very good. They have a lot of good pieces there. They really haven't shown how they're going to come together yet. And I know Saquon's going to be coming. I know he's working hard to come into this week 1 game against this week. So that's going to be. This tale should be told about what he does and what his production is going to be following that. Sunday, and who knows, he might come in. Old school form and just take over. And we might be in trouble this Thursday. But I just think this defense is just too much for this team for where they're at right now. And our offense is going to be our offense is going to do enough again. Just like the first 2 weeks, our offense is just going to have to do enough both these games, both these times to win both these games. And this team is not a lot different from last year. I don't think on their side of the ball as far as what they're going to do on the field when we played them. And I think that we're a lot better and we're a lot more schooled. So I just see us in a who knows, maybe a 2-touchdown game. I don't know, but these games are always close though against these Division Ones. So. But we should be beating them by a lot more by a little. But yes, starting out 2-0, baby.
The one thing I will say for the Giants is their secondary is very good. Obviously, Jabril Peppers still holding down the strong safety Logan Ryan, a guy that we had our eye on 2 seasons ago during the offseason to come in and play safety for us, and then Adoree Jackson, who they signed in the offseason as a free agent from Tennessee. So I mean, their secondary
Bradbury
is
too. Bradbury.
Yeah, James Bradbury. You're correct. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, a hat tip to them is that their secondary is formidable and good enough that this may have to be, a running attack. But nonetheless, like you said, they just have to do enough. Just don't turn over the ball. Just as long as if we can have Fitzpatrick, we don't need Fitz magic. We don't need Shitzpatrick. Just give us Ryan Fitzpatrick and we'll be fine. Don't turn over the ball too many times, run the ball, pound the ball, maybe like you said, old school type of, I know you're talking about, Saquon Barkley, old school, but just old school running, pound the rock. As long as we're doing that, I think the defense should be able to handle their own here against the Giants. But I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 10-point game here against, maybe we're up 7 late and get a little field goal just to kind of pad the lead a little bit. But yeah, I see that thing becoming a victory and starting the season off 2-0.
Mm-hmm. I agree there.
Week 3, our first big test of the season, we got the Buffalo Bills, who I think they're the belle of the ball when it comes to the AFC East. Definitely when it comes to the AFC East, but just when it comes to the AFC in general, right after Kansas City. Until I see New England really do something in the regular season, I'm going to hold off on them. I still don't have a lot of faith in the Jets. The Dolphins, I really don't know what to expect from them. They sound like they want to trade Tua. We kind of talked about that last week, which is wild to me. But this is going to be the first real test, and I think this is going to be the first loss for Washington. Like I said, that AFC, that Buffalo Bills team is just very, very good. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, they're adding Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley. The list goes on and on. Now, the one thing I will say that plays in our favor is the running game isn't great for Buffalo. So, if we can kind of make them one-dimensional, maybe we can make a little something happen there. Their defense is very good as well, but I do think that we slip up here and lose to Buffalo in Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm gonna again. I have to agree with you there. This is gonna be our first, find out how good we really are game. And if this is one of those games though, if Ryan Fitzpatrick comes in and does his Ryan Fitz magic, then this is a game that we easily have a chance to win. Because it's not like they're going to totally blow us out. I think we can be right there with them. I think a couple key plays will be the difference in this game. And to me, it's probably going to be Josh Allen rolling outside of the pocket. When you have an aggressive defense like we do, as far as chasing guys down and wanting to get that sack, you have a mobile quarterback. That's almost the exact kryptonite for that. Is he going to be able to roll outside that pocket, make plays, hit guys down the field, and make us pay for that. So I think that Buffalo is going to be hitting their stride right here. They're going to be, having the preseason, having a couple of games under their belt. They're going to be about as good as they're probably going to, close to what they're going to be this year. So I think we're going to gradually get better as we learn to play more together. This team is a little bit behind Buffalo as far as in developmental pace. And so play them later in the year, and I wouldn't be as easy gimme as we're giving to them right now. But I think Buffalo probably gives us a defeat here.
Yeah. Which I mean, like I said, if we can keep it close, I don't think that's a terrible loss because they are, Super Bowl favorites to make it to the Super Bowl, favorites to win the AFC East. So they're one of those teams that are fully ascending And so I don't think, like I said, if we can keep it close, I think it'll be a moral victory. I hate to use that, but it is what it is. That case where you're playing one of the better teams in the NFL, and you keep it close and you make it interesting. Something to build on for a young team.
Not to
Following
mention
that,
it's in Buffalo. Not to mention it's in Buffalo. It's gonna be crazy. The fans are gonna be just like how we're gonna be at home. That's the best team they've had forever. And so, yeah, it's gonna be hype up in there. But don't be surprised. Again, any of these games, we're able to beat any of these teams in the NFL. We're just playing again. We're not gonna say a 17-0 schedule. So don't be surprised though. We walk out of here 3-0, but I think we'll be 2-1.
I wish this game was later in the season because that's 100% where I'd want to go, 1,000%. But nonetheless, it's week 3 in September. Can't really make it happen. So, we'll maybe next time. Week 4, we traveled to Atlanta to play the Falcons. Obviously, the Falcons bring back Calvin Ridley. They bring back Matt Ryan. They add Kyle Pitts, lose Julio Jones, bring in Mike Davis as their running back. That defense still has a lot of question marks for me. So with that said, I think this is actually going to be closer than people expect. I don't think Atlanta's very good, but I still think Matt Ryan is good, and I still have trust in that passing game with Kyle Pitts, with Calvin Ridley. They're outside of those two, their passing game, Russell Gage doesn't really, blow my shorts off. Tajay Sharp, Christian Blake, Cordell Patterson, who's really probably just more of the return guy. Those are guys that don't really scare me. And you look inside the defense, Dante Fowler, he's the guy that got drafted, I think, 5th or 6th overall. I think this is his 3rd or 4th team. Fabian Monroe, revenge game against Washington. But outside of, like I said, the defense doesn't really scare me. I think it'll be closer than people expect just because, like I said, I still have a lot of respect for Matt Ryan. I still think he's very good. But I do think this is a victory. So 3-1, off to a hot start. Love to see it. And that's my prediction here.
Yeah, it was funny that this morning on Good Morning Football, they talked about Atlanta being like one of the most unknown teams. Like, we don't know. Just kind of, we don't know. We can't get an assessment on them yet. And this early, before we even say to play a game, I'm still there. I don't know who this team is. I don't know how good they're going to be. They can come out firing on all cylinders. Maybe that they coach. Like, I think last year, it was just decision making and coaching was what lost Atlanta a lot of their games last year. It wasn't that they were 100%. A bad team. So I think they have a lot of those key components, minus Julio Jones. But, Calvin Ridley is a great number one, to have there as well. Not to mention Kyle Pitts in there. And they say the best player coming out of the draft, So it's an unknown. They can come out and score 30 points, and they come out and get blown out by 30. But I think that our defense is going to present problems for Matt Ryan. I don't think their identity is going to be revealed or they're not going to be set. I think we'll be a little bit further along than them. And I like the 3-1 start as well.
Following that, going into week 5, we are playing New Orleans. They're coming to Washington. Now, this is another team that I think is going to be an unknown team. Funny enough, they're coming out of the same division as the Falcons. Obviously, Jameis Winston, he wins the starting job, which he absolutely should have. Taysom Hill's not an NFL quarterback. Now, obviously, Mike Williams won't be playing. I don't think he's available till week 6. So the passing game.
Michael Thomas, you mean?
Or, yeah, what'd I say?
Mike Williams.
Mike Thomas, yeah, Mike Thomas. The passing game doesn't really scare me. Traquan Smith is listed as their number 1 right now. Chris Hogan, he's a lacrosse guy. Obviously, we know him from his days in New England. Marquez Callaway, a new wide receiver coming in. And little Jordan Humphrey, shout out, Texas, hook him. He made the team, so he'll be there as well. Deontay Harris is so, even looking at tight end, it's just there's not a lot of weapons there. Now, I will say their offensive line is very good. Teron Armstead, he's been a perennial guy. Ryan Ranchek, he's been a perennial guy that's been there, not been there, but he's a guy that's been in the NFL, done a really good job. Andrews Pete, the left guard. So if they can keep Jameis upright, they might have a shot. Alvin Kamara, obviously, that's going to be the key, is stopping the run. Can we stop the run? Can we hold Alvin Kamara at bay? I'm interested to see. This is one of the biggest things that I have my questions about for New Orleans is how often, and I kind of have these questions about Washington too. How often is Jameis going to take the check down and pass it off to Alvin Kamara? Drew Brees was great at doing that. If the slant to Michael Thomas wasn't there, he's dumping it off to Alvin Kamara and letting him cook. and run in the open field. So I don't know if he's going to be the type to check down to Alvin Kamara, much like I don't know if Fitzpatrick's going to be the type to check down to Antonio Gibson and rather take the deep shot and just throw it over everybody's head rather than, 3-yard pass and see if they can, bust a couple more yards after that. So I'll be interested to see coming into this how good or how they utilize Alvin Kamara more so than just a runner, because he is a prolific pass catcher. They might have to line him up at wide receiver a little bit more because of the missing link in Michael Thomas. So maybe, he's lined up in the slot and they got Latavius Murray coming back. Maybe he is going to be like more of the running back in the formation there. Who knows? But so I think Washington wins this. But again, I think it's a very close game just because there are so many question marks. So I have it sitting at 4-1 right now. Makes me a little nervous, but that's what I think here. That's what I got.
It's kind of hard to not say that we should. I mean, by all means, if this team is anything like we think they are on the defensive side of the ball, and just a little bit of what we think they can be on the offensive side of the ball, then we should easily walk away with this victory. This is a team that, minus Drew Brees, is the only thing that made this team ever scary. It was having Drew Brees on that team. You talk about Alvin Kamara. I'll put it this way. I had Alvin Kamara in this league that we just drafted for as my keeper the last 2 seasons. This year, I swapped him for Antonio Gibson because I think that he's bigger. He's more of a weapon. I don't think Kamara was Kamara because of, like you said, Drew Brees got the ball in his hand. He knew he had the knowledge to know that this guy's going to always be right there. Whether Jameis Winston has that connection with them, it's still yet to be seen. And whether Alvin Kamara could just do it on the ground alone, I don't know. So I think that it's going to be a real interesting story to watch unfold as these Saints this year, and kind of how they act, post Brees, and it's kind of how Jameis Winston picks up the torch and runs with it. And I don't know if he's going to be running strong right here. And I don't fear Jameis Winston, maybe not yet, not just yet. So I think this Washington team should be able to have, again, with all the power we have on defense and just enough on offense, we should be able to squeeze through these games and come out the other side 4-1.
Agreed. Now our next 2 games, what would that be? Week 6 and week 7. Week 6, we got the Chiefs kind of going the same way as the Bills. I mean, they're the bell of the ball in the AFC, obviously going to the Super Bowl last year against Tampa Bay. So I chalk this up as an L. I don't think anybody's going to be shocked about that. Best quarterback in the league, one of the top wide receivers in the league, one of the top tight ends in the league. So, it is what it is. Again, if we can keep it close, another moral victory, and feel good about yourself, but not really much to say. It's the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, the whole 9, Travis Kelce. Chalk it up as a loss. Call it what it is.
Yeah, the only way I think we win this game is if Heineke's our quarterback by now, and he just has some magic that that Andy Reid has no answers for, and that very well could happen somewhere along these lines. That's the only hope I have, but I can't predict that. I can only predict what we have in front of us, and I have us. 4-2 right here. This is the best team probably in the NFL.
Yeah. Following that, we talk about a tough week back-to-back. So we play the Chiefs at home. Next week, we go to Green Bay to play Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. I think we lose back-to-back games here, putting us at 4-3. I think this team I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a fantastic year. I think he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's going to let him hang and give a big double-barrel guns to Packers front office as he walks out. But I think he's trying to make it one last ride with his boys. And again, probably one of the favorites in the NFC to make it to the Super Bowl, especially with that added chip on the shoulder of Aaron Rodgers. I think that's one of those things that people can't really – it's not really tangible when it comes to placing a bet on somebody or listing somebody as a favorite, but I think it absolutely is something that should be taken into consideration because we've seen Aaron Rodgers play with that chip on his shoulder and how he can perform when he is playing like that. So, again, I think back-to-back losses here going to Green Bay. What is this? The week before Halloween, so it is going to be cold. It might be a ground and pound game a little bit, but either way – again, keep it close. Make yourself look like you're hanging. And if you're sitting at 4-3 and your 3 losses are to the Bills, Chiefs, Packers, and they're close, you're feeling good about yourself. Even though your record may say 4-3, I think you're still feeling pretty good.
It's going to be a tough outing. Again, you said it. You hit the nail on the head with Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be on a warpath this season. Devontae Adams as well, as he's in a contract year. So, it's going to be a 2-man show. And you add in Aaron Jones and your boy Robert Tonyan. It's gonna be a
Bobby Tonyan.
It's gonna be a shootout there, and I don't know if we can keep up with that type of high caliber offense just yet. But we play these games rough. We come out 4-3, and we play some pretty tough teams. Again, we should be feeling pretty good about ourselves. at this point in the season. And so, yeah, I think we will be, though, 4-3. That 4-1 looked a little too pretty so early. I knew we were going to have to
Yeah,
take some hits eventually.
absolutely. No, I agree, and that's why I didn't feel too bad. Projecting that was because you look down the line, you got some tough teams. Following up the Packers, we traveled to Denver, Mile High, to face who's their quarterback out there? Who's gonna be the starting quarterback in Denver?
You know who it is. Bridgewater. You know it's Bridgewater.
Who's their backup?
Are you just giving me shit because of my boy Drew Lock?
Of course I am. Of course I am. Yeah, I'm absolutely giving you shit. 'Cause Drew Lock is trash, and until you admit it, I'm going to give you shit about that every single time.
I mean, how can we base it off on his body of work? You know what I mean? Like Mitch Trubisky was given way more body of work to admit he was trash before Drew Lock was. You know, can you admit that?
I think it was because Trubisky was the only option out there.
Well, I mean, I guess Drew Lock was the only option too, but I still think that I still think he has potential. I still think he could have a Ryan Tannehill start over somewhere else. Yeah, I think
the only reason he was given as much time as he was is because he was rapping Jeezy on the sideline. That's the only reason why.
No. Probably because his 4-year starter in college and blew away in the SEC. He played in the SEC and blew away teams for 4 years. I mean, that's probably why.
Anyway, so we'll be playing Denver and Terry Bridgewater. I will say the thing that worries me the most about this team is their passing game. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, all very good wide receivers. Noah Fant, let's see if he should be ready this time, come this point in the season. He's dealing with a little bit of a leg injury. And so, again, very good defense. Bradley Chubb, obviously, you're going to be going up against Von Miller, Kyle Fuller, at corner, and Ronald Darby, shout out. Another revenge game here. Kareem Jackson, very good safety. So I don't think Denver's going to be very bad. I think they're going to be actually a pretty decent team. But again, in a loaded AFC West, we'll see how it goes down. Running game really doesn't scare me with Melvin Gordon. I think he's definitely on the downside of his career. Javonte Williams is the backup there. So I think as long as our secondary can hang and keep their wide receivers at bay, as long as we can keep whoever's playing quarterback at this point upright, with those guys coming after him, Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, I think this shouldn't be. I think this is gonna be a very close game. I think it's gonna be a 3-point game, maybe coming down to the wire. But if I had to flip a coin, I'm gonna ride with Washington. So we're sitting at 5-3 right now in my book.
5-3. Now I think one guy you failed to mention on defense was the man, Patrick Surtain. Or did you mention him?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Patrick Surtain, drafted this year. You're absolutely right. Ball hawk, very, very good very, very good cornerback. And so he's going to be there tracking balls down. So, you're 100% right, Patrick Surtain Jr.
I think this is going to be a highly contested defensive game. I think the Broncos are a very underrated defense, and that's why I was able to snag them the second to last round in this draft we just had online, because nobody's going after Denver because they forget who they actually have on their team. And I probably because they're going to play the Chiefs twice a year, and you're going to have a stat fest there as well. And it probably does slant their numbers for the year as well. But this Denver defense is definitely a team to be reckoned with as well. Their offensive side of the ball, you nailed it with all the wide receivers. You got Noah Fant as far as tight end as well, and who's the other guy they got? They have 2 tight ends out there, don't they? I'm just not going to read this second. Anyway, Bridgewater will do. I mean, he showed last year that he can do enough just to beat us when he was with the Carolina with less. He beat us with less as far as weapons, and so it's going to be not an easy game whatsoever. It's not going to be an easy team to score on. These are guys that are going to get after Fitzpatrick, Heineke, whoever's in the game at that time. Guys are going to shore up that run too. So it's going to be a bruiser fest, and I would not be surprised if we don't go to Mile High and lose this game. So it's going to be a tough one. But I'm going to give it to them, and I think we're going to have a lot of character by this point, especially coming out of 2 back-to-back losses, and we're going to need this win. I think that our desire to win alone is what's going to be carry us to the victory here. So I like us being 5-3 as well.
Agreed, and I failed to mention that part too. Like you said, coming off back-to-back wins, it's almost like a maybe not a must-win, but a can't lose. Like you can't start off 4-1 and then drop 3 straight. Just isn't good for the psyche, isn't good for the race, but. Absolutely. It's one of those must win games, or you have to win to get things rolling again. I think the tight end you're thinking of was Jake Butt. He retired because he tore his ACL for like the third or fourth time. Because they did have they had a kind of a dual tight end deal there. But he is now gone. So no offense there. They're clear cut number one tight end. Following our bye week is after Denver. We play Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously a replay of last year's wild card game. That was absolutely electric. We're facing, assumably, as we sit here before week one, if you're playing a fully healthy Tampa Bay team, all 22 starters return, going to be a tough matchup. I don't know if Heineke's playing at this point. I don't know, obviously what, but all things considered, if I'm going with Green Bay and the Bills and the Chiefs as losses, I've got to do the same here with the Bucs. And I think that'll be a loss. Now, again, if we can keep it close, I wouldn't be surprised if we could sneak this one away, because it's like, hey, revenge game. Hey, let's, we remembered how it felt last year. A lot of guys still on this team with bad taste in their mouth because they felt like they were right there at the edge. So I'll still say Buccaneers win this game, but I wouldn't be totally shocked if we kind of pulled one away just because of that little extra chip that we might be playing with on our shoulder, much like I said in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, this is coming off a bye. I think, did you mention that as well? After that, we will be in a bye. So we're going to have a lot of time to rest up, and I think we win this game. I think this is one of the games that we come out and after those 2 losses, or 3 losses, I should say, to very good teams, this is when the guys in the locker room are talking over this bye week like, hey, if we want to be taken seriously as contenders, if we want to be taken seriously as a next level, next tier team, then we got to win games like this. We can't go out there and have these, we had good outings versus Buffalo. We had good outings versus the Packers and versus the Chiefs. We can't just have good outings. We have to go out there and beat these teams. And I think put that together, as well as how tough we played them last year. I think that we played them good enough last year to win the game. A couple questionable ref calls, and if the Heineke injury doesn't happen, I think that we win that game. I think so. I think that this is a team that can be beaten by us. I think that they're not as good as the other 3 teams we are losing to. Even though they are the Super Bowl champions, I still think the Packers were better than them last year, and I still think the Chiefs were better than them last year. So, and probably the Bills too, maybe even the Ravens. But I think that this team is a team that's very beatable, and I think that by this time this year, I think that they will have shown that, and it's not going to even be viewed as a big win by us by this point.
Interesting. I like it. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if they do pull it out, and you're just going to go ahead and say we absolutely are going to. So I love it. Love to see it. Next up, we play the Panthers on November 21st. Now I've lost count. This is week 10?
This is week 10. No, 11.
Week 11. Okay, week.
Oh no, this is week 10. You're right. This is week 10.
Okay, week 10. Week 10 against the Panthers. We go to Carolina. Hopefully a lot of Washington support there, as most of those fraud Carolina fans were once Washington fans before this team came along. Sam Darnold's back there with playing quarterback. They did add a couple weapons with DJ Moore, or they didn't add him, but coming in with DJ Moore at wide receiver. Obviously losing Curtis Samuel. I heard the team he went to is pretty good. Hopefully he plays. Robbie Anderson makes his return. Christian McCaffrey, you're hoping he's still healthy at this point if you are a Panthers fan. One of the guys that I think is going to be extremely underrated is rookie Terrace Marshall, who they drafted late out of LSU. I think he's actually going to be really, really good. So I think this is a win. We lost we played them last year. And we lost to them last year.
The Heineke came out of the party game, remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. Duh. Yeah, that's right. That was the Heineke game for sure. So I do think we come back, get a nice little victory. Get that one back for Ron, and once and for all. You know what's funny? And this is no disrespect to this player, but it's more so the fans and the Twitter fingers out there is just to show that Chase Young is by far and away a much better player and has a more impact than Jeremy Chin. I know they play 2 totally different positions, but just everybody's saying that Jeremy Chin should have been Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Chase Young was by far and away the Rookie of the Year on the defensive side of the ball last year. And like I said, I know that they're hard to compare because they play 2 different positions, but just as far as impact, give me Chase Young 10 out of 10 times, 100 out of 100 times. So that's another thing. Maybe Chase Young has like 7 sacks and Jeremy Chin Jeremy Chin gets burned for like 2 touchdowns or something. That'd be great. But I think we chalk this up as a victory against Carolina.
I did as well. I don't even think they're going to be as good as they were last year, which they weren't very good last year. Obviously McCaffrey coming back is going to be a big part of that offense, and he's always an X factor you're going to have to deal with. But Sam Darnold at this point, we'll see where he's at. We'll see where this team is at by this point. And again, this is another one of those unknown teams like the Saints and the Falcons. We don't know just who they're going to be or how they're going to be. But I think that we're going to be better than them. I think we're farther along than them. I think Ron needs to win this game against that organization, and I think this team wants to win it for him. So I think, we can get the victory here.
Yeah, I mean, they add a couple guys on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, drafting J.C. Horn, I believe 9th overall, somewhere around there.
And that was week 11. I'm sorry.
Perfect. Week 11. They bring in Hassan Reddick over from Arizona. So they did add, a couple guys on that defensive side of the ball. But again, I still think that Washington takes this one. And so for me, that puts us at 6-4, and for you, 7-3, correct?
Mm-hmm. 7-3.
Okay, all right. Going to the following week after we play Carolina, we play Seattle at home, which is nice so we don't have to go play from Carolina and travel west to Seattle. Seattle's coming here to us. A lot of question marks, I guess, as far as the defensive side of the ball. They signed Jamal Adams to that massive contract. Don't know if he necessarily had to do that, but obviously still have 2 electric wide receivers in DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. Obviously, Russ is still there cooking. And so I think this is going to be a very, very interesting game. For whatever reason, we always play Seattle tough, whether it's close our way or whatever it may be. I feel like these are always hard-fought games. Bobby Wagner returns. Like I said, they still have Jamal Adams. Quandre Diggs returns. Hookem, Trey Flowers. So a very good secondary for Seattle. But because they're having to travel, I'm going to see who they play prior to us. So they're playing.
It's a Monday night game too.
What's that?
That's a Monday night game too.
That's right. Yeah, this is the second of our primetime games. So they play Arizona week before. Oh, so they're coming off a bye. Oof, that makes it tough. So with coming off the bye, I'm going to give Seattle the victory here. I think Seattle comes in and wins. Like I said, we always play them tough, always hang tough with them. Chris Carson, if he's still healthy, again, you can never count on that. And that's that passing attack. They add Gerald Everett at tight end. I'm going to go ahead and no shame, give Seattle the victory here.
I think this is one of those personal demons that this organization has to overcome. Russell Wilson being one of those ones. I think we only beat him once in his career, and that was that one time that Kirk Cousins, Josh Dotson connection at the very end of the game, right there by that 1 yard line.
Talk about your unlikely heroes.
Exactly. This playoff losses, those close losses that Russell Wilson's given to us, those beatings, I think it's time that this team and this defense shuts him down, and I think we do that. Their defense, they lost their Griffin. I think they lost both Griffin brothers from their team. So that's huge in their secondary. I know that Jamal Adams, what you did mention, and Quandre Diggs, I don't know if they're enough to, I think, to handle if Fitzmagic has a magic show or if Taylor Heineke's the quarterback. I think that we have enough on offense to outplay their defense. And I think our defense definitely has enough to keep up with that offense. So I like the victory here.
Right on. Okay, so week 13, hoping to be at this game. Mm-hmm. To be determined. We shall see. We go to Las Vegas to play the Raiders. I think Derek Carr is trash. Don't think he's a good quarterback. Darren Waller still sitting there. He's probably their best offensive weapon. Henry Ruggs, they can get the ball to him. He's going to run in a straight line all day long. Josh Jacobs, I thought he was a very good running back. They bring in Kenyon Drake. I think he's going to steal a lot of reps from Josh Jacobs. They bring in Peyton Barber as well after he gets cut from Washington. Obviously, their first-round pick this year, Alex Leatherwood, I think they took it at 15 or 16, which was a huge reach. People thought maybe they could get him in the second round. So, all things considered, I do think that Washington is able to handle this game no problem and beat the Raiders and take home a victory here. Like I said, hopefully we're in attendance. We'll see. But until then, I'm still chalking it up as a win.
I think that this Raiders team is going to be one of those teams that just has a really rough year. I think it's going to be the year of the end of Derek Carr and the end of a lot of the thoughts that go around to that scheme behind it. So I don't want to call it a blow-up year, but I think it's going to end up being a blown-up year by the end of the year for them. And I think that by this point, that tale is going to already be almost all the way written, and we're just going to be picking up the pieces, picking up the corpses.
So give me a quick recap here. After that, where do our records stand at?
You're at 7-5, and I'm at 9-3.
See, who's the optimist here? Is it me or is it you? We keep trading off. Last week it was all doom and gloom, and now you're like, oh, we're gonna go 13-2.
Hey! If we're squeaking by 9-3 versus blowing people out the water. I mean, our schedule. I mean, like I said, other than the teams that we're losing to, I think the only team I have is beating that can be considered. I guess not even the Seahawks. I mean, why Russell Wilson? Is that why you just Russell Wilson?
Yeah, and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and
that's just Russell Wilson. I mean, you put anybody else in there that's not DK Metcalf and that's not Tyler Lockett. They're just guys without Russell Wilson, and that's it. And that's what I think about Seattle. Tampa Bay's a little bit more well-rounded. I think they actually, they're going to have a step back as well. But these teams that we're talking about aren't. We're good. We're good enough. That defense is good enough to shut down teams. It's just the offense is being able to score points. I know. Again, I always like to say, when I say that we're good, I like to know that we can beat any team there. If you're not going to be able to score enough points to beat Patrick Mahomes or beat like the Bills or the Ravens, or the Packers, then you're not really an elite team in this league, in my opinion. And that's what I want for us, and that's the kind of offense I want for us to score a lot of points. And that's where my vote of disconfidence comes in. Is that offense was so stagnant in the preseason that it didn't even show that it could score any points, much less enough to keep up with these teams. So you put them in the one by one against teams that are pretty much in the same boat. And I like our defense more, so we're going to get victories just by that alone. But what does it mean though? At the end of the year, we're what, 14-3 or 11-7? Don't matter. We go to the playoffs and lose to the Packers. So it's all for nil. That's the part of me that's not optimistic.
That's fair. So I got it setting 7-5, like you said, 9-3 for you. After we play the Raiders, we travel back east home, and our first matchup against the dreaded Dallas Cowboys. Boo. I think this team is very much an enigma right now, the Cowboys. Is Dak going to be healthy? Is he going to be fine? What are you going to get from Zeke? Obviously, they have, arguably the best wide receiving core in the division, with CD, with Gallup, with Amari Cooper. I think Tony Pollard is actually a really good backup running back for them. The biggest question mark, I think, is going to be that defensive side of the ball, as it has been for quite some time. I'll tell you what, man, that Jabril Cox pick is looking like, worse and worse. I guess the non-pick for us, worse and worse, because that guy's looked really, really good. Again, it has been against second and third teamers, but still you can see flashes of a guy that can be good. You're waving your finger at me and shaking your head. I think he's going to be good. I think Micah Parsons is going to be good. I think Jabril Cox takes Jalen Smith and kicks him out of town. I think he gets traded away. Here's the thing. So we finish up our last 5 games against they're all against division opponents. So our season could be decided in these last 5 games, 100%. I think we beat the Eagles twice. I don't think the Eagles are any good. I think we beat the Giants twice because I don't think they're any good. I don't know if we beat the Cowboys twice. So I'll say they come into Washington and beat us, and so we're sitting at 7-6 following that game.
No, I'm right there with you. It's funny that you said the same thing. You just pretty much get the spoiler on the rest of the games. But but I was shaking my finger. Not the Jabril Cox pick. I mean, I think he's going to be decent. I think he was picked where he's at. I think he's going to make an impact. I think Micah Parsons is by far and big away going to be a better, linebacker than he's going to be. But
yeah, he's
not
round pick.
Yeah, but not as much as Jock was a miss. I don't know if you saw his preseason. That guy's he got 2 out of the 4 votes for preseason defensive rookie of the year. If you saw, he was playing against 1s and 2s. He wasn't playing against 3s and 4s. He was playing against 1s and darting through everybody all over the place, sideline to side. Exactly what I wanted in a linebacker is how he's been playing in the preseason. That was the biggest miss that I could ever think of, as far as was sitting right there, and he got all the way to the second round. He got all the way to the second round, and I was saying it for months. I did not move on that first pick, saying this is the guy that we need, and we did not. So I was going to talk about that later, but since you brought it up, your boy Jabril. Oh, we missed Jabril Cox. I don't give a shit about Jabril Cox. We missed a freaking might even be better than Michael Parsons. Probably. I mean, everyone else thinks he is. That's calling him the. I didn't see Michael Parsons one time. He mentioned the rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year conversation. I've been seeing Jock mentioned by two people in the same conversation this morning. So, yeah, that was the miss. But as far as this game, I agree. I think we're going to be riding high. The Cowboys, I don't know if you saw their schedule past this first Buccaneers game, but they did them a favor. They played nobody hard after this Bucs game.
That's what happens when you finish, third or fourth?
So they can be right. They're going to be right in the thick of it. Right, as I have us at 9-3. They could be very well be 10-2, 9-3, right there with us at this point. And I think they're going to come in there and steal one from us. And I think we're not going to be ready. We're going to go in there a little bit, not knowing what to do at 9-3 or 8-4, wherever we're at. And I agree. I think they're going to take this one.
Yeah, it's going to be, those games are always the toughest. So following that, we go to the Eagles. This time actually is to be determined. It's going to be a Sunday game, but they don't have a time listed right now. So I guess they're probably planning on flexing that game one way or the other. Like I said, I just don't think the Eagles are any good. I don't think they're, Jalen Hurts is really the answer there. Their running game with Miles Sanders, he's never been appealing to me. He'll have like one or two breakout games, and it'll be like, justify people taking him in the first or second round of their fantasy drafts. Devontae Smith, I think, is going to be very, very good, but he's their only weapon. I mean, you can throw Jalen Reagor in there. He's very average at best. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, same thing goes there. Dallas Goedert, we'll see what he can do at returning at tight end, but they just, nothing really stands out to me about the Eagles. I think we win here, so I believe that has me sitting. My choice there has us sitting at 8-6.
8-6, and I'm at that 10-4 with you because I don't see that us losing to them either times, as you said. So off to
Following
Dallas.
The Eagles, we come to Dallas right here in my home city, in our home state. We beat the Cowboys. Come here, big win on the road Sunday night, day after Christmas. 2 weeks after they just put one in our mouth in Washington, we come back and do the exact same thing. So now I have us sitting at 9-6 after we beat the Cowboys. Again, nothing other than just based on law of averages. I don't think they beat us twice, but I also definitely don't think we beat them twice. So again, here we go. We beat the Cowboys at home.
11-4. I have us 11-4. We win this one.
Following that, we go back home, play the Eagles. Same outcome as we saw before. I think Washington rolls. That offensive line, I don't think is going to be any good. Now, the only thing is, Jalen Hurts can move. That's the unfortunate news, or kind of the downside. The good side is we don't have Ryan Kerrigan over pursuing. So maybe we can actually close the pocket down. I always got to.
He could be pursuing us. He's on that side now. Remember, over pursuing us.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right. I forgot he is in Philly. That's right. Duh. For some reason, I was thinking he was in Tennessee. But
that's Brian Arakpo, man.
I know that's Brian Arakpo. But I don't know why I thought he was in Tennessee. But that's right. I forgot he went to the Eagles. That schmuck. So yeah, maybe he's over pursuing Taylor Heineke, and Heineke's stepping up in the pocket and maybe running for a first down or throwing a deep bomb to somebody. So we finish with the Eagles, and then we go back to. To the Giants, play them on the road, and we finish up on a 3-game winning streak, similar to how we started the season. Started the season on a 2-game winning streak. We end on a 3-game winning streak and make our way into the playoffs as the NFC East champ.
So you have it. You finished off with 11-6 record, decent. I think we go into this last game and we've already clinched it all for these victories, and we rest everybody, and we lose this one to the Giants. And we're 12-5.
That's optimism, my friend. That's crazy. I mean, we were splitting there at the end, there in the middle, and then we finish up very similar. Look, if we go 11-5, or 11-6,
or 12-5, I was 12-5.
Yeah, that's a little ambitious, my friend.
I think we're 11-5 team from the old record. So I mean, it's just winning that extra game. I think that Buccaneers game or something like that. So. I think it's very. I mean, with this team, it is the next logical step. It is the next
4-game turnaround.
Yep. If we're we won the division. Now we got to get into that next tier of teams, and we're going to do that with a 12-5 record. So, it's optimistic based on our schedule. I don't think we're going to blow out any of these teams. I think we're going to be a lot of tough. It's going to be a tough 12-5. We're going to come out with some black eyes, but yeah.
Let me see. I want to see. Oh, here we go. What did? Here we go. I want to see what Vegas had our win total at. Just for my own.
And while you're looking at that real fast, just a note. I don't know if you saw that we put what's his name, Forrest, on IR and re-signed David Mayo to the to the team. So Mayo did make the team, and I think it was just to keep what's his name off waivers is what I was reading. To keep Forrest off waivers, they just kept him, and then once Mayo cleared waivers, they just put him on AR and then re-signed Mayo.
Interesting. Well, I mean, Ron said after we made cuts, I mean, that's another thing we could have gone over too is the final 53. A lot of big surprises. Notably, Shaka Tony makes the team. William Bradley King doesn't. We had that flipped. Were a couple others.
Afki is all I gotta say. That was the one. That was the only one that I said for sure that you were gonna get wrong.
and I admitted it. I was like, look, I might get it wrong, but this is just for my own personal opinion, my own personal mental health. Dax Milne makes the team, who I had, which I was shocked that. Who did we cut?
AGG.
Yeah, AGG. He gets cut. Obviously, Jeremy Reeves gets cut, which was heartbreaking. You know, guy that balls out, plays his heart out for
Practice squad.
Yeah, but yeah. So Vegas has us at win total of 8.5.
We are more optimistic than we even think we are.
Well, so here's the thing. So over 8.5 is at minus 120. Under 8.5 is at plus 100. Usually you see those a little bit closer. Like the Seahawks, they're at 10. They have their team total at 10, and both of those are minus 110. So Vegas, you know, they set our win total at 8.5, but they probably think that we're going to be close to that 9 or 10 spot based on the odds they're given there. Same with the Buccaneers. Buccaneers, they have their team total at 12. Both of those are minus 110. So I think they're probably, thinking or guessing that we'll play or we'll be a little bit better than that 8.5 win mark.
They want to make some money, guys? Go in there and take the under on that Tampa Bay and the over on that Washington. Right? Just those two right there. I promise you, you're not going to see them get more than 12 wins.
What's really funny here is to make the playoffs, yes, for Washington is plus 135, and no is minus 175. So that's kind of weird that they'll have us winning over over 8.5 games to 9 games, but not make the playoffs. Very interesting there.
Well, it'll be a tight division like last year, I'm assuming, with the Giants and or probably just the Cowboys. The Giants, we'll see. If Saquon comes out and does what he can do, then that changes the dynamic of that team altogether.
The Cowboys are the favorite to win the East at plus 150. We're not far behind at plus 200, and the Giants and Eagles are plus 400 and 500 respectively. So they think it's a 2-horse race as well. Like you said, unless something really crazy happens with Saquon and he comes out guns blazing, then that kind of flips the division on its head. So just kind of interesting to see what Vegas has as odds for us right now. And that was just one draft, or excuse me, one sports book I was looking at. So that, that could be different all around. But I think that's pretty similar to what I've been seeing as well. Who was it? I think Colin Cowherd and Mike Greenberg both said, don't be surprised if Washington is the NFC conference winner.
I know, I saw that.
Plus 2,200. We tweeted out the video of Mike Greenberg. Plus 2,200 to win the conference and make it to the Super Bowl. Look, man, I'm all for it, but let's be a little realistic here. I don't know that that's going to be the case. If you, like you said, if you want to make a little bit of money, make a little, go throw some, as we say, go throw some cup holder money on that. The money you have in your cup holder, plus 2,200 odds. If it happens to hit, it hits. If it doesn't, which it probably won't, you're not going to be heartbroken over it. So it's it's a little interesting to see some national talking heads, picking out Washington amongst all the other teams to be that surprise team. But also too, we're verging on that trendy pick where like everyone's picking Washington, or everyone's like, hey, keep an eye on Washington. So that's always kind of a curse as well. It's like if everyone's on us, then it sometimes becomes a bad thing in the opposite way.
Yeah, I just I just think that once as we did, once you actually dig into the numbers, and they probably start digging the numbers, you're like, well, other than those other teams we talked about that we're playing the best teams in the NFL besides Baltimore. I think all of them.
You keep mentioning Baltimore. I don't think they're going to be that good.
But Lamar Jackson.
I don't think they win the division.
You think Pittsburgh comes back and wins it?
Fuck no.
Then who? Cincinnati or Cleveland?
Cleveland.
No way, but if Jock can carry them, I don't think
You got such a boner for Jock. That defense is good. That
who else besides Jock? Myles Garrett and who else?
I mean, Jadeveon Clowney's still going to be pretty decent. They're getting back Denzel Ward. They're getting back
Grant Del Pitt.
Grant Del Pitt. Like, they're going to have a good defense. Like, it's going to be a good defense. As long as Baker doesn't fuck it up, they have, I think, the best running back in the league in Nick Chubb. They definitely have the best 1 and 2 in Chubb and Hunt. And, like I said, as long as Baker can control the offense a little bit and Odell and Jarvis Landry can kind of figure their shit out, I think they're going to be fine. I think the Browns win the division.
Well, I don't think so.
You got a point. That's fair.
I think Baker. You said that the Baker's a big iffy there. I think we saw some improvement in here. He just reminds me of I don't know. You'd like to see him. You'd like to see him take that next step. I just don't know if he has it in him yet. I think he might be feeling himself a little bit more. Let's see if he comes back and like Josh Allen does not believe the work is done. I think that Josh Allen's shining as the quarterback of that class, and let's see. Well,
give me all your division winners right now.
Okay, we got in the NFC. It's going to be Green Bay, Tampa Bay, the Rams, and Washington.
Rams. Okay.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to win it? San Francisco. Okay, I'll let you give yours in a second. Okay, in the NFC, it's going to be AFC is going to be Buffalo, Kansas City, Tennessee, and Baltimore.
So NFC, everybody you mentioned, except I do have the 49ers winning it over the Rams. The AFC, it will be the Bills, Kansas City, Cleveland, and Tennessee. Yeah.
So you just have the only one you have different is Cleveland over the Baltimore and San Francisco over the Rams. Okay.
Yep.
All right. You didn't get lured in to know Indianapolis, Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz is trash. Sam Ehlinger is the answer there. Sam Ehlinger is the answer.
He's on IR.
If he didn't injure his knee, he would have been a much better quarterback, I think, than Carson Wentz. I think Sam Ehlinger is a better quarterback right now than Derek Carr. I've had that conversation with another one of my buddies numerous times for the last couple of years.
Derek Carr's trash, bro.
Yeah, no, 100%. Warren, Warren. Me and him have been going back and forth. I told him if Sam Ehlinger, you put Sam Ehlinger on the Raiders, they're a much better team than they are with Derek Carr. And this was when he was still in college, and he thought I was crazy. But nonetheless, yeah. So those are my division winners there as well. And yours, I think, obviously we got to play the games, but I think that'll probably be pretty consensus across the board. Do the Patriots make the playoffs?
No. I think there's too many good teams in the AFC now. I think that the Dolphins might be better than the Patriots.
Wow, that defense is gonna be good now. They spent a lot of money on that defense. Patriots.
Yeah, let's see what Mac Jones can do. Mac Jones is gonna get. I don't think we saw for whatever they saw. I didn't see. I saw enough to know that he's might be good in a few years, but not this year. And I think the main reason they took Cam Newton out there is they don't want everyone clamoring for him as he makes all these mistakes that he's gonna make that we know he's gonna make. Yeah. So I think that was just reinstilling the hope that we know he's not gonna be good this year. Was getting rid of Cam just to get that breathing off your neck guy out of the room.
I think the Patriots and Chargers make the playoffs as a wild card.
I would probably say Cleveland probably makes the playoffs, and maybe the Dolphins or Indianapolis.
You had a lot of faith in Indy, huh?
It's just that Jonathan Taylor's good. That running game, that defense is good.
He is very good.
Yeah.
He is, no doubt.
And
so
Carson Wentz never had a running back ever.
Yeah. So if you have the Rams winning the NFC West, do you have the 49ers making the playoffs?
It's gonna be I don't know how good they're going to be. I mean, they picked up Josh Norman too out of
I
nowhere.
did see that today.
I think that possibly they could sneak in as a wild card. You got other teams. I mean, the Bears. I mean, I think Justin Fields week 2 is going to be taking over that team, or maybe even week 1. I think that's going to be a different team with him on the field. And I think just kind of like how the whole team of Washington changed him and Taylor Heineken's on the field. I think he's a team-changing player. So, I think 49ers are probably, of that group, 49ers probably get in. Possibly, one of these sleeper Bears or Atlanta, that kind of comes in there. Or the Cowboys, So, we'll see.
No, it's going to be fun. It's shaping up to a lot of fun. We are officially 6 days away. Well, I guess 4 days away from the first game on Thursday, and then
3 days.
We roll.
3 days. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This time, that game's gonna be over. Well, not over. It won't be. It'll be over because they'll be losing 35-0, but the game will still technically be on.
Yeah, no Zach Martin for the Cowboys. That's gonna be tough to overcome. Arguably your best offensive lineman. He's out with COVID. But we'll be rolling on Thursday with the NFL kickoff, and we'll be on our way for the next 4 or 5 months of just madness.
All the way till February. February.
Yep, it's going to be a great time. Well, that'll do it for us here. Do you have anything before it wrapped up, Joe?
That's it. I get all my little tads. Oh, do you see who's returning kicks for us? I released the official depth chart. DeAndre Carter, is that his name?
Yeah.
He's returning kicks for us. Cosme is starting.
Told you.
And that was the only 2 surprises I think I saw on that list. What's his name starting over? Cameron Curl starting over Bobby McCain.
Yeah, I figured. Like I said, that wasn't a huge.
We wanted it, but you just don't know what they're going to do with veterans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jarrett Patterson, he's going to be there. He's going to be the second teamer kick returner. Dax Milne is going to be the second teamer punt returner, which I figured that was going to be the case as well with Dax Milne or Milne. He's kind of a speed guy, and I figured that's why he made the team, was for that reason, to be a return guy. But we
brought in that kicker on practice squad. Did you see that tweet I put out?
Yes.
Who was it again?
Say again?
Who was it again? I forget.
Derek Pinheiro.
Yeah, that's right. Pinheiro. It's been mucho dinero for Pinheiro.
Hey, I love it. Mucho dinero for Pinheiro. Love it. Absolutely. Hopefully we see him week 2, and he'll be in there kicking. Who else got cut? The Lions cut both of their kickers. Jason Sly got cut. Fat Randy Bullock got cut.
I saw both of them at someone's camp today. Both of them are at the same camp. I don't know who they were. So Baltimore had Le'Veon Bell and Todd Gurley today.
Yeah, saw that. So I'm just glad that we brought somebody else in to kind of put a little bit of pressure on Dustin Hopkins finally.
Exactly. It's all you need to do is just don't give it to him. I preached it last week, didn't I? Hammer this about you preach competition and you bring in nobody for this guy that misses kicks all the time. That makes 0 sense to your philosophy.
100%. Well, that'll do it for us here. Make sure you check us out again anywhere. Check us out on our links below: YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud. Hopefully you're watching live on Facebook by searching Allies Behind Enemy Lines podcast. Make sure you get your t-shirt right before the season starts. # we all need allies. Allies Behind Enemy Lines, a Washington football team podcast. We will come back to you Friday. We're trying to squeeze it in. Yeah, a little pregame show, kind of sizing up the Chargers, pretty much what we just did, but for real, since we'll have a little bit better idea. And then back on Monday with our wrap-up show after the game. So a lot of content coming at you soon. We're getting ready for it. We're gearing up, and we're excited to bring it all to you, all live too, here right here on Facebook. So you can check us out every single time. And then again, you can find the rebroadcast on YouTube. So until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time.